Hey guys, I'm sorry for the lack of videos over the last couple weeks, but I've been working extremely hard to make sure I end this year better than I started it. Nevertheless, I'm here with another episode that hopefully help you guys get started in this wholesaling business. Just to recap over the last couple of videos, the first one was the actual marketing methods to find a deal, and then the second one was the type of sellers to market to. So today I'm going to explain to you guys how to know what to offer on these properties once you get an appointment with these sellers. So the way that you actually know what to market to these people, the first thing you need to know before you even get to the property is the ARV. That's basically, if you go on Zillow.com or TotalViewRealEstate.com, those are the estimates that they give you. It's pretty much the value that the investor that you sell the house to, that's what they can sell the house for. So you need to know that when you go into these properties, so you can kind of already have an idea of where you need to get the seller to agree for a price. The second thing you need to know to make an offer on a property is basically the rehab cost. Being a wholesaler, especially starting out, you won't really have exact numbers, but what I can do for you is I can help you pretty much give a good estimate, be in a ballpark. That's what you really want to do when you're giving these ARVs and these rehabs. You want to be in a ballpark for your end buyer so they can go ahead and assess, and it can be around what they need it to be. So if you are a little bit off, even if you're a couple thousand higher, that's better than being, too low on your rehab cost. Because the higher your rehab cost is, and if they so let's say for example, if your rehab cost is $30,000 that you got, but your buyer can do it for $20,000, that's better for you because you may be able to squeeze out an extra $10,000 just because you estimated higher than what it actually was. You don't want to estimate too low, because if you said your rehab cost was $10,000 and it's actually $20,000, then you can be in some trouble. You might have to back out of that deal because your numbers were a little bit too off. So now, since I've explained those two things to you, now I can pretty much give you the formula on how to actually give your offer. The universal formula to make a wholesale offer to a seller is pretty much 70% of the ARV that you came up with before actually going to the property. So for example, if the ARV or the estimate was $100,000 for the house, what you would do is multiply that ARV by 0.7, which is 70%, and you would come out with $70,000. So that is that's pretty much where your investor needs to be after he fixes up the house. He needs to be at $70,000, and he will list it for $100,000 or however much he thinks it's worth. All right, so once you do that and you got $70,000 and you go in this house and you determine that the rehab cost is around $20,000, etc., then you just plug that in. All right, now you're at $50,000. After you get down to that point right there, you need to decide how much you want to make off this property. So if you want to make $10,000, then you need to be offering that seller at least, well, your maximum offer that you can offer the seller is $40,000. You offer them $40,000 and you assign the contract for $50,000. That's pretty much how you make offers on these properties. Also, I will give you guys tips on how to pretty much judge the rehab cost. A rule of thumb for me, especially starting out, before you really start getting a good idea on how much it would cost to actually rehab a bathroom or a kitchen or something like that. Rule of thumb for me was, if the house was move-in ready, or if I felt like it was move-in ready, I would still multiply the square footage of the house times 5. So if it's 1,000 square foot house, I would multiply that by 5. That would get the rehab. It's always rehab cost. I don't care. You'd rather be safe than sorry. If the house needs a little bit of work, then I would multiply the square footage by 10. That's a $10,000 rehab. If it needs, a kitchen and something else, and you just think it needs a little extra, I would multiply it by 15. If it definitely needs some work, I would multiply it by 20. And if it's a total gut job, I would multiply by 25 or 30. That's just a rule of thumb. But once you start to know like the average cost of kitchens and bathrooms and even a roof in your market, it'll make it easier for you to tighten up those numbers. But that's pretty much all you need to know to make a offer on these properties. I recommend going to your local REIA groups and learning what percentage of ARVs that they're buying at, because in my market it's 70%, but in certain zip codes I know my buyers would love to buy them at 50 cents on the dollar or 60 cents on the dollar. I know in California sometimes they're buying them at 80% or 85%, so you're able to get those properties under contract for larger amounts than we are. So you should definitely do your own research in your local market to see what your buyers are willing to pay. But that's just that's pretty much the universal formula, 70%. 70% you should be safe. And those are rule of thumbs to measure your rehab costs. Yeah, so guys, that's how you pretty much make offers on these properties. Also, I would like to let you guys know that I am offering consulting. I'm offering real estate consulting, how to get started into your wholesaling business based off your budget and how much time you have, your schedule. So I'm offering that. It's an hour, it's 45 minutes to an hour. It's only $75 right now. So with that being said, if you haven't already, follow me on every social media platform at Antonio Dotson Jr. and subscribe to the channel. Give me some likes and some comments. Also, the link to consulting will be in my Instagram account. So check that out.